you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you all are having an amazing day, a great morning, afternoon, whatever time of day you're listening and tuning in right now. I hope everything is just going in your favor. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I hit a new PR at the gym today. I know I always start off the episode by updating you guys with like my fitness journey, but that's because I genuinely get excited to share my wins, my small wins with you. Even though today I feel like it's a big win for me personally. I hit a new PR, meaning personal record, at the gym this morning. I lifted the heaviest I ever have for a hip thrust, which was 245 pounds. Okay, that is literally officially double my weight. I can hip thrust double my weight, and I did 245 for 7 reps. Now, I'm not going to lie. The 7th rep looked a little bit messy. Like, I could have definitely been better. But, that's a PR. Like, I never would have imagined that for my size and, like, my strength level, I would have been able to lift that amount ever in my life. Like, I've always been a little bit shy, modest to lift really heavy. Like, I'd say a year ago, I wouldn't do more than 135. Like, literally my mind was blocking me. I was like, you can't do more than that. Like, what are you thinking? You're going to hurt your back. And what really pushed me to, try and just like reach for the stars mentality, I started following a lot more fitness accounts over the last year. Like, my entire feed when I scroll is fitness, health related. And I would see girls my size or even smaller lifting or squatting or hip thrusting 200 pounds or more. And I'm literally like, how? How? Like, I couldn't understand it. But it's like, you just have to get in the mindset that you are able to do that and you can achieve it, and, making sure that everything else is on point with nutrition, your sleep, which is going to lead into today's topic about float spas. I don't know if you guys have heard of this new wellness trend that has been going around, but I think this is exactly what my body needs after the rigorous workout I had this morning. For those of you who are like, what are you talking about, a float spa? It's, in a nutshell, they put you in this like sleeping pod filled with water and like Epsom salt. And half the tank is Epsom salt, which helps you stay afloat the water, and it's supposed to be really relaxing. It's supposed to have all of these amazing health benefits, which we will get into today. So don't go anywhere. How I came about this topic, like I said, I had a really bomb workout today, and my body's feeling it. Like, I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. And I don't know. I'm just like always on the lookout for new like health and wellness trends out there. Like we've talked about the IV drip, red light therapy. I'm very into like alternative remedies and healing my body. So I came across this local float spa in the Sacramento area that just opened. And that's really how it got the wheels turning in my mind. And I was like, float spa, what is that? And the like scientific term for a float spa is called sensory deprivation therapy. Okay, so we're going to discuss everything you need to know about sensory deprivation tank therapy, aka the float spas, aka where you're staying afloat above water and like, yeah, just staying afloat. It's supposed to be really relaxing. I remember the first time I heard about this actually was even before I did my research a couple of days ago about this float spa. I'd say it was actually like a little less than a year ago. I was on Groupon and I came across this Groupon deal where it was like, I think 50% off float spa session, like hour-long session. And the pictures were like alarming to me because I'm like, every spa is different and designed differently, but this specific float spa that I was looking at, they're like enclosed capsules. Like basically you lay in this like 7-foot, 8-foot pond of water and it like seals over you so that like if you were to open your eyes, the top of the pod is literally about to like touch your nose. So I feel like if your eyes were closed, it'd be fine. But like knowing that it's like so enclosed and it's like 80 to 90% water and then like 10% of me being able to breathe, like, I don't know, it's the claustrophobia in me that comes out. So again, this is just one specific float spa that I was looking at. But this other one that I came across in the Sacramento area, their float spas are like really, really tall. It's still about like 8 feet long. Like if you were to lay down, it's about 8 feet long, but the height goes like all the way up to the ceiling. So you don't feel as, congested in the water, which I appreciate because girl, I don't think I would have ever, or I wouldn't be prone to trying it out if it was in that tiny like capsule looking like enclosure. All right. So I want to know right now from you guys if any of you have tried float spas or sensory deprivation tank therapy and more fancy terms. And what did you think? Like, did you like it? What were your thoughts? Like, here's again, if I haven't made myself clear, I have never been to a float spa. I have never tried sensory deprivation tank therapy. Am I interested in it? Yes. Am I skeptical? Yes. Here's why. From all I've been reading so far, and again, I'm just like looking at the websites I have pulled up of like different float spas in the area, but it says that it's 50% salt. So it's 50% Epsom salt, and it's supposed to be, again, great for many things. It naturally relaxes the body, yada, yada, yada. We'll get into all of that. But I'm like, can't I do this in my own home? Like in my own bathtub, Like I have Epsom salt sitting at home, and I can pour the whole bag in there, and it's 50% Epsom salt. So will I be floating? Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? And I don't know. So I definitely like am interested in it, but not gonna lie. I looked at prices and I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay that much for an hour long to float in a bathtub when I can have one at home. You feel me? So again, that is just me being skeptical. Have I ever tried it? No. But would I like to try it? Yes, because I want to put that skepticism to the test. I want to see, I want to be able to form an authentic opinion about the sensory deprivation tank therapy float spas from experience. I don't want to form an opinion just based on what I'm reading. I want to form it based on me physically trying and doing a session. But again, these prices aren't looking too friendly right now. Your girl's trying to save money right now. So we'll come back to that later. We're going to come to a very brief break right now. And when we come back, we'll finally discuss in greater detail what is sensory deprivation tank therapy.
Are you looking to learn more about the latest trends from the fitness world? Are you confused by all of the different trends that are out there? The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place for you. The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place to come for people of all skill and interest levels. Join us as we explore the latest trends in the fitness world. Does that new exercise really work? Should I try yoga? Whatever your question, chances are good you'll find an answer on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we're finally going to get in greater detail what exactly is like the hype around this. Why have float spas become a new rising trend in the health and wellness field? We're going to get into all of that right here, right now. So first and most importantly, what is a sensory deprivation tank or isolation tank? It sounds pretty intimidating, right? Like isolation tank. Like that sounds like a prison, low key. So a sensory deprivation tank, or for better words, a flotation tank, is used for restricted environmental stimulation therapy, aka REST. Do you see how we abbreviated that? So again, a sensory deprivation tank is used for restricted environmental stimulation therapy, REST. It is a dark, soundproof tank that is filled with a foot or less of salt water. So I'm going to give you all a little history on how this idea even came about. The first tank was designed in 1954 by John C. Lilly. He was an American physician and neuroscientist. He designed the tank to study the origins of consciousness by cutting off all external stimuli. Pretty interesting, right? His research took a controversial turn, though, in the 1960s. And that's when he began experimenting with sensory deprivation while under the effects of LSD, a hallucinogenic, and ketamine, a fast-acting anesthetic that is known for its ability to sedate and create a trance-like state. Doesn't this just get better? Like, what? Okay, I'm liking the history so far. You have my attention, John C. Lilly. So again, he designed the first float tank in 1954 to study, the origins of consciousness by basically eliminating all external factors. Then in the 60s, controversy began, and that's when he began experimenting with, under the effects of LSD and ketamine. Then in the 1970s, commercial float tanks were created and began being studied for possible health benefits. And these days, finding a sensory deprivation tank is easy, with float centers and spas offering float therapy all over the world, you guys, all over the world. I thought this was like just began popping in the US, but it's been around for quite some time. And their increase in popularity may be due in part to the scientific evidence that has came out. Studies suggest time spent floating in a sensory deprivation tank may have some benefits in healthy people, such as muscle relaxation, better sleep, decrease in pain, and decrease stress and anxiety. Pretty cool, huh? Like, from its history and all kind of like the stages it went through, how I feel like all good ideas always get rejected though. Like, whenever anyone has an idea or an innovation that is outside of the box and it goes against, with society things, there's always controversy. So there's always hate before there's always love, right? Give this a video or not video. Give this podcast a like if you agree with that statement. So let's talk about its effects, the sensory deprivation effects. The water in a sensory deprivation tank is heated to skin temperature and naturally saturated with Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, providing buoyancy so you float more easily. You enter the tank nude and are cut off from all outside stimulation, including sound, sight, and gravity when the tank's lid or door is closed. As you float weightless in the silence and darkness, the brain is supposed to enter into a deeply relaxed state. Sensory deprivation tank therapy is said to produce several effects on the brain, ranging from hallucinations to enhanced creativity. Ooh, it's like you're on drugs, but you're not. This is like a natural high from Epsom salt, okay? Like floating in water. So, one of the most frequently asked questions in regards to this whole process, this new alternative remedy to relax and heal the body is, do you have hallucinations in a sensory deprivation tank? That's a good question, right? Many people have actually reported having hallucinations in a sensory deprivation tank. Okay, over the years, studies have shown that sensory deprivation does induce psychosis-like experiences. A 2015 study divided 46 people into two groups based on how prone they were to hallucinations. Researchers found that sensory deprivation induced similar experiences in both the high and low prone groups, and it increased the frequency of hallucinations in those in the high prone group. Now, in this study, it didn't really specify like what makes someone more prone or less prone to hallucinations. So I feel like that's a really big factor, missing piece in this 2015 study. Like, what makes somebody more or less prone, right? I feel like that's like really important to understand and know. But I wouldn't be surprised if I went in there and I started seeing, like, I don't know, Oprah in the tank with me or something like that, or Tupac, I'm pretty sure people probably, like, are under the influence, if you know what I mean, going into these tanks, naturally under the influence, to maybe further their experience, their psychosis-like experience. I don't know, you guys. Again, I'm just making assumptions here. I am inferring what people do, what could happen. I feel like the more and more I'm going through today's episode, the more I'm learning and the more I want to go. Okay, I'm still skeptical, don't get me wrong, but like, this is like an interesting side of the sensory deprivation tank I didn't know. Another frequently asked question is, will it make me more creative? Will it get all of the creative juices flowing? According to an article published in 2014 in the European Journal of Integrative Medicine, floating in a sensory deprivation tank has been found in a handful of studies to increase originality, imagination, and intuition, which can all lead to enhanced creativity. And I understand how this could happen, why this could happen. We as a society are very easily distracted, right? I mean, this is no secret. with the rise of technology and the more consumed we become in social media, the less we're in touch with the present, the less we're in touch with reality, with what's really going on in real life, not what's going on behind our screens. And because we're so easily distracted, we are influenced by other people's ideas. We are, just easily influenced by the media, by what's being thrown at us and the algorithm. And it takes that creativity away from us because we're just so easily distracted, and not even just like technology, just like life in general. Like, especially like if you live in a busy city, like traffic, honking, sirens. I don't know if you live like just people, just energies are always constantly flowing. Some energies are better than others. Some people vibrate more higher than you, and that just all affects one another. It affects me. It affects you. We are all interconnected. And I'm not trying to get all like, woo, on you. You feel me? I know some of you are probably like tuned out like, what is Cynthia talking about today? She is like going off the deep end. But y'all, it's for real. Like I'm going to be straight up. I am a very spiritual person. Okay. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not trying to push anything on you. I am very spiritual in the sense that I believe, like I just said, we're all connected. We're truly all connected. We are constantly vibrating in different frequencies, depending on how we're feeling and our external environment. So I can absolutely see how doing an hour-long session in a sensory deprivation tank or flotation tank can up the frequencies. And when your frequencies are elevated and higher and you are literally vibrating higher, it really does get all of this imagination and intuition flowing and going. It does. I'm going to come to a brief break and let you guys sit on that for a moment. When we come back, more frequently asked questions regarding flotation tanks.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we're going to continue on with some of the more, we only actually have a couple more frequently asked questions regarding the sensory deprivation tank therapy, flotation tank therapy, whatever you want to call it. So next frequently asked question. We already discussed, do you have hallucinations in a sensory deprivation tank? Many people, yes, have reported hallucinations in a sensory deprivation tank. The other question is, will it make you more creative? Will it make me more creative? And it says that a handful of studies have been found to increase originality, imagination, and intuition, which can all lead to enhanced creativity. Which now leads to the third frequently asked question. Can it improve concentration and focus? Though most of the research that exists is older, there is some evidence that sensory deprivation may improve focus and concentration and may also lead to clearer and more precise thinking. This has been linked to improved learning and enhanced performance in school and different career groups. I need all of it, right? I'm like, I need to be more focused. I need to have more clarity in my life. I like the sound of that. And final frequently asked question, and this one actually I think is a pretty good one. Low-key surprised that it's one of the most frequently asked questions, but again, it makes sense as to why people are inquiring this. Does it improve athletic performance? And the answer is, the various effects of sensory deprivation tank therapy on athletic performance are well documented. It has been found effective in speeding up recovery after strenuous physical training by decreasing blood lactate in a study of 24 college students. A 2016 study of 60 elite athletes also found it improved psychological recovery following intense training and competition. So, with that being said, what are some of the benefits of a sensory deprivation tank? We're done talking about some of the more frequently asked questions. We're now going to get into more of the nitty-gritty detail of benefits of a sensory deprivation tank. There are several psychological and medical benefits of a sensory deprivation tanks on conditions such as anxiety disorders, stress, and chronic pain. So, does sensory deprivation tank treat anxiety? Flotation rest has been found to be effective in reducing anxiety. A 2018 study showed that a single 1-hour session in a sensory deprivation tank was capable of a significant reduction in anxiety and improvement in mood in the 50 participants with stress and anxiety-related disorders. A 2016 study of 46 people who self-reported generalized anxiety disorder, that's me, they found that it reduced generalized anxiety disorder symptoms such as depression, sleep difficulties, irritability, and fatigue. Can it relieve pain? So the answer is, the effect of sensory deprivation tank therapy on chronic pain has been confirmed by several studies, actually. It has shown to be effective in treating tension headaches, muscle tension, and pain. A small study of 7 participants found it effective in treating whiplash-associated disorders such as neck pain and stiffness and reduced range of motion. It has also been shown to reduce stress-related pain. Additionally, can it improve cardiovascular health? And flotation rest therapy may improve your cardiovascular health by inducing deep relaxation that reduces stress levels and improves sleep, according to research. Chronic stress and sleep deprivation have been linked to high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. So, all in all, will it make you happier? There are many claims about flotation rest causing feelings of overwhelming happiness and euphoria. People have reported experiencing mild euphoria, increased well-being, and feeling more optimistic following therapy using a sensory deprivation tank. Others have reported spiritual experiences, deep inner peace, sudden spiritual insight, and feelings as if they were like reborn. And again, this is because you are completely cutting off all external forces. It's literally just you, your mind, your body, and soul all in one. So that's also what, like, despite the skepticism that I have within me, this is also a huge factor, a huge reason, motivation for me to try this out personally. I want to feel all of that. I want to feel that deep inner peace that many people have experienced following therapy using a sensory deprivation tank. I want, some spiritual insight and that feeling of a reborn, of feeling new. Like, that just sounds so appealing to me. So I need to try it. But again, this is going to lead me to my next point now, the sensory deprivation tank cost. So, your own home sensory deprivation tank can cost between $10,000 and $30,000 if you want to purchase one for the comfort of your own home. And the cost for a 1-hour float session at a flotation center or like a float spa ranges from about $50 to $100 depending on the location. So the float spa that I found here local to me, you have to purchase it by like in twos and couples, and for two it's priced at $109. So slightly above average. Still, will I pay? Like, that's really the only, I think that's what makes me skeptical. I'm like, why is it so expensive? Why is it so expensive? Why is everything healthy so expensive? My goodness. So I'm going to walk you through now the sensory deprivation tank process. Though the process may vary slightly depending on the flotation center, a session in a sensory deprivation tank usually goes as follows. First, you obviously have to arrive at the flotation center or spa. Then once you get there, they have you remove all of your clothing and jewelry and contacts. Yes, they make you take off those contacts. They say to shower before entering the tank. You enter the tank and close the door or lid. Hopefully it's a door because the lids are pretty freaky. You gently lie on your back and let the buoyancy of the water help you float. Music plays for about 10 minutes at the start of your session to help you relax, and then you just float for an hour. And then music plays for the last 5 minutes of your session. You get out of the tank once your session has ended, you shower again, and then you get dressed. So to help you relax and get the most out of your session, it is recommended that you eat something approximately 30 minutes before your session. It's also helpful to avoid caffeine for 4 hours beforehand, these float spas say. Shaving or waxing before a session is not recommended as the salt in the water can irritate the skin. Women who are menstruating should reschedule their session for once their period has ended, of course. And then the takeaway. When used properly, a sensory deprivation tank may help relieve stress and ease muscle tension and pain. It can also help improve your mood, and overall sensory deprivation tanks are generally safe. But as always, I say this for every single new thing you're about to try. It may be a good idea to speak to a doctor, your primary care doctor, before using one if you have any medical conditions or concerns. Always better to, be prepared. Preventative care, I'm very big on that. So even if you think it may not hurt you, you just never know. And it doesn't hurt to just send a quick email to your doctor. That's one of the good things about technology nowadays, that you don't always have to show up in person. You could just shoot them a quick email like, hey, is this okay for me given my current circumstances? I wonder if you guys can hear the typing that's going on in the background. All right, y'all, we're going to come to another very brief break right now. And when we come back, we are actually going to switch gears slightly, and we are going to talk about, is it safe to sleep with earplugs, since these flotation spas have you using earplugs. We'll be right back.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Y'all, welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So as I mentioned in the previous segment, we are switching gears slightly, but yeah, we're switching gears a little bit, but I still think it's pretty relatable to what we were just talking about in regards to, like the flotation tanks, the float spas, since in this type of therapy, they do provide you with earplugs. And again, this is to really eliminate all external factors from your experience in the floating pod or, tank, whatever you want to call it. And so we're going to talk about, is it safe to sleep with earplugs? I feel like a lot of people tend to do this. If you live in a noisy area or just have trouble sleeping at night and you're just really trying to get into that deep relaxation mode, then a lot of people opt for the earplugs. I actually used to use earplugs. But is it safe? Is it safe though? That's the real important question. Earplugs are useful for protecting your ears against loud noises, right? But many people also use them to sleep, and they can make a world of a difference for light sleepers or people who live in a noisy area, as I just said. There's still, however, some debate over whether it's safe to sleep with earplugs in every night. So we're going to learn more right now about the benefits and risks of regularly sleeping with earplugs. So what are the benefits? Sleeping with earplugs can significantly improve the quality of your sleep. For many people, earplugs are the only way to block out sounds while they sleep, such as noise from a nearby freeway or a snoring partner. This is significant because the quality of your sleep matters just as much as the amount you get, right? It's like, I'm a big advocate for sleep. I've talked about this multiple times, that sleep is so imperative to our health. Like, that's literally the only time when our body, is detoxing from the day and, really in that deep relaxation mode and getting all the toxins away from our bodies and letting your body heal and rest for the following day. So not just how much you sleep, but the quality of your sleep. And of course, loud sounds can wake you up out of a deep sleep. And this has lasting effects, even if you wake up only for a few seconds. It takes time for your body to return to that phase of deep sleep that your body needs after a full day. And according to a 2006 report, low quality sleep over a long period of time may increase your risk of high blood pressure, strokes, diabetes, heart attacks, obesity, depression, and the list goes on. Another report from 2012 noted that poor sleep is also linked to inflammation and reduced immune function, which both negatively impact your health. Given the importance of sleep for your overall health, earplugs offer benefits that go far beyond just getting, like a good night's sleep. So with that being said, are there any side effects? Earplugs are generally safe. However, they do come with a few potential side effects, especially if you use them regularly. Over time, earplugs is going to sound kind of gross. Earplugs can push earwax back into your ear, causing a buildup. And this can cause several problems, including temporary hearing loss and tinnitus. To clear the wax, you'll need to either use ear drops to soften it or have it removed by your doctor. Earplugs can also cause ear infections. While they can happen due to a buildup of earwax, bacteria growing on earplugs can also cause them. Ear infections, if y'all have never experienced or had one, are often painful and can have lasting complications such as hearing loss if not treated. So with that being said, what's the best type for sleeping? Earplugs are generally divided into vented and non-vented types. Vented earplugs have a small hole, which helps to equalize the pressure in your ear. These are useful for flying and scuba diving, but don't work any better than non-vented earplugs when it comes to sleeping. In addition, vented earplugs are usually categorized by their material. First one being wax. Wax earplugs are easy to mold to the size of your ear. They're a good choice for both sleeping and swimming since they're waterproof. Silicone is another one. Hard silicone earplugs have the added benefit of being reusable, but they're usually uncomfortable for sleeping, especially if you're a side sleeper. Soft silicone earplugs work similarly to wax ones and provide a more comfortable fit. However, some people find they aren't as effective at blocking sounds as other types. Foam. Foam earplugs are the most inexpensive option. I've used these. They're also soft, which makes them a good choice for sleeping. However, their porous material makes them a good environment for bacteria, so you need to replace them often. So again, those are the 3 different types of vented earplugs that are categorized in wax, silicone, and foam. They all have their pros and cons. So I guess you just get to pick your poison. And you can also talk to your doctor about custom-made earplugs. This involves making a mold of your ears and creating a pair of reusable earplugs that matches their shape. Custom earplugs tend to be more expensive, and they still need to be cleaned regularly. They're also very good at blocking out all noises, including an alarm clock or emergency alert, so use them with caution. So how do you use them, with caution and safely? Using earplugs correctly can reduce your risk of having any side effects, you guys. So follow these steps to safely use earplugs. Number 1, roll the earplug with clean fingers until it's narrow enough to fit in your ear. Number 2, pull your earlobe away from your head. 3, insert the earplug just far enough to block sound, but don't push it in as far as it'll go because you'll risk irritating the lining of your eardrum. 4, if you're using foam earplugs, keep your hand over your ear until the earplug expands to fill your ear. If you're using disposable earplugs, especially foam ones, make sure you replace them every few days. To extend their life, you can try washing them every day in warm water and mild soap. Just make sure you let them dry completely before putting them in. So here's the bottom line, you guys, in regards to earplugs and sleep. If you're a light sleeper or need to sleep in noisy areas, earplugs are a great option for improving the quality of your sleep. Just make sure you regularly clean or replace them so you don't develop an ear infection, and never stick them too far into your ear. So that's really the biggest health risks when in terms of earplugs and sleep, sleeping with them regularly. It's okay if you do it from time to time, but if you do them every day and you don't change the earplug, then you risk getting an ear infection. And then if you don't treat that ear infection, it could lead to more serious issues such as, loss of hearing at worst case scenario. And we don't want to go through that, right? No, we don't. This is easily preventable. I am literally telling you, based on science, evidence-backed data, how to correctly use earplugs if you are a light sleeper, or if you just really need to make sure that your quality of sleep is on point for a busy and successful day the next day, then earplugs is also a really good choice. So you guys, we're going to cut into a very brief break right now. And when we come back, more at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. We are now entering the final segment of today's episode, and we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of saltwater pools. A saltwater pool is an alternative to a traditional chlorine pool. Although you don't add chlorine tablets to a saltwater pool, it does still contain chlorine. It just has a similar amount that's generated through the filter system. A saltwater pool contains 10 times less salt than the ocean. There's around 3,000 ppm, parts per million, salinity in a saltwater pool. By comparison, there's 35,000 ppm in the ocean. Some people find this type of pool less harsh on their hair, eyes, and skin than the chlorinated pool. Saltwater pools are becoming more common at hotels, resorts, and on cruise ships. You can find natural saltwater lagoon pools in places like Mozambique and Bolivia. You can also choose to have a saltwater pool installed in your own home. So let's discuss the difference between saltwater pool versus chlorinated pool. A saltwater pool gets cleaned using a filtering system called a salt chlorine generator. The system uses electricity to turn salt into chlorine, which cleans the pool. In a chlorinated pool, chlorine tablets or granules are physically added on a regular basis for the same purpose. In both pool types, it's important to still check the pH levels and alkalinity of the pool so it stays balanced and sanitized and the chemicals stay balanced. The cost. The cost of a saltwater pool is initially more than a chlorine pool. That's because a saltwater chlorination system can cost around $1,400 to $2,000 plus installation. But over time, it may save you money because you won't have to regularly buy chlorine tablets. Maintenance. A saltwater pool is easier to maintain than a traditional pool. but pool owners still need to check pH and alkalinity levels weekly. How about smell? A saltwater pool doesn't have the same chlorine smell as a traditional pool. If you find the smell of chlorine bothersome, you may prefer a saltwater pool. How about the effects? A saltwater pool won't have the same harsh effects of a traditional chlorine pool. For example, your hair is unlikely to turn green from swimming in a saltwater pool. Your swimsuit won't get bleached out either. How about pool effects? Salt can be harmful on a pool over time. Saltwater pools need to be regularly checked for signs of erosion and buildup. Swimming in a saltwater pool may be better for someone who has asthma or allergies. That's especially true when it comes to indoor pools. You might notice a strong chlorine smell upon entering an indoor pool area. That's because of the chloramines, the mix of chlorine and ammonia. In an outdoor pool, the smell quickly evaporates, whereas it's contained indoors. It usually is most strong around the surface of the pool, where swimmers take their breaths. If you have trouble breathing, you may find swimming in an indoor chlorinated pool irritating. One 2003 study found that young children who swim regularly in an indoor chlorinated pool were at greater risk for lung inflammation and developing asthma. But more research is needed to determine if a saltwater pool is the best alternative. Does swimming in saltwater burn more calories? Swimming in a saltwater pool doesn't burn more calories than a regular pool. Still, swimming is an excellent form of exercise. No matter which type of pool you're swimming in, wear goggles to protect your eyes and avoid swallowing water. Testing. It's important to regularly test a saltwater pool. Weekly, test for free chlorine and pH using a drop kit or test strips. Monthly, it's important to test for salt level, alkalinity, stabilizer, and calcium, and you may need to make adjustments. Every 3 months or so, you need to test the salt chlorine generator for buildup and clean it off. Also, watch for signs of deposits and erosion and perform maintenance as needed. At any pool, it's important to practice basic safety measures. Right? We all know this. So the weighing takeaway. A saltwater pool may be a good alternative for anyone who finds the smell of chlorine irritating. It also may be a good option if you have asthma or allergies, but more research is needed. If you're interested, look for a swimming pool. Look for a saltwater pool where you can swim in your community, or consider installing a saltwater filtering system in your own pool. So you guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I really hope you all enjoyed today's episode regarding saltwater pools, wearing earplugs to sleep, wearing earplugs in a flotation tank, and all of the health benefits of a flotation tank. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff, because that tremendously helps the show. And I'll catch you guys here next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.